5 tips to practice Sabbath with your children. So me and my wife, my family, 4 kids. I've got a 10-year-old, 8-year-old, 4-year-old boy who's very full of energy, and a baby, a 16-month-year-old little baby girl. And we've been practicing Sabbath for about 8 months now as a family, and it's been a very, very interesting experience. Usually our routine is on a Saturday. I'm a pastor, so Sundays are a big day for me, so it's easier to have Sabbath on a Saturday, and usually it starts with breakfast. We have a big breakfast, usually pancakes or crepes or bacon and eggs. We put a lot of time into that, and we do it together. So that's really our ritual to begin our Sabbath, is all coming together, cooking together, eating together, taking time together. And because it's a Sabbath, we don't have anything that we have to go to. There's no appointment that morning. There's nothing, doctor's appointments we're rushing off to, or work that I need to fit in that day. It's really nice just to wake up, have breakfast, and just start off together. Usually then in the morning, we just go naturally into a time of prayer and worship. And this has just been phenomenal for my children, just to teach them to hear the voice of God, teach them how to journal, teach them how to study the Bible. We read through different books of the Bible. We read through different devotional books. We practice different ways of meditating, or silence, or solitude, or praying in tongues, or hearing the voice of God. All kinds of different things we have a go at. It's just incredible. We've been reading through the Pilgrim's Progress as well, so that classical story. We've got a kids version of the Pilgrim's Progress, not the original, but a kids version, and the kids love that. So we do that every Sabbath day. It's become a real pattern, a real ritual of what we do. Often in the afternoons we get out of the house. So during summer that was going to the beach. During winter it's usually going walking or hiking or getting out somewhere, doing an activity as a family. We steer clear of shopping centres and the movies and all those kind of things. We tend to go out in nature, because I think Sabbath is about enjoying God and delighting in God, and nature and beaches and being together as a family is important. We don't want to be distracted by video games or movies or shopping centres and consumerism and all of that stuff. Really, it's about slowing down together. And that's where the digital detox works really well, to slow down together. But also we have to detox from mummy and daddy doing all of their jobs. So mummy's not allowed to do grocery shopping or online shopping or any of that. Daddy isn't allowed to mow the lawns or go off and do his own thing, or watch his phone in the bedroom, or do work, or get on my computer, or answer emails. So it's as hard for us as parents and challenging for us as it's been for our kids. But all this might sound great to you, all this might sound amazing. When I tell my friends, they think, wow, to do that with my family, with kids would be incredible. But this is why I'm doing this video, because a great challenge is doing it with children is difficult. It is painful. There's tantrums, there's yelling, there's food thrown on the walls. There's all kinds of things that are ready to go wrong in trying to practice Sabbath with your children. That's why I want to give you 5 tips to practicing Sabbath with your children, because it is not easy. We've got a 15-month-year-old little baby, so she's walking around screaming, wants all kind of things. I've got a 4-year-old boy who's so full of energy. He just bounces off walls, jumps on things, punches his sister all the time. So practicing Sabbath is definitely not smooth and beautiful and as delightful as you would think at our house, but you've got to adjust to doing it with children. The benefits are phenomenal. So here's 5 quick tips. Number 1, you've got to practice. It's a spiritual discipline or a spiritual practice. So don't have high expectations. Keep your expectations very low and just chip away at it. Don't try and do 24 hours if you're just starting off with this. Maybe just try and do a morning of Sabbath with your children. Be flexible, because you're going to have days. There's days where mum and dad are fatigued and it's really hard to do anything, and we're not ultra planned, we're not ultra prepared for Sabbath. But go easy on yourself. Be flexible, have low expectations, and practice. Just build up over time. With children, this is something you want to be building up over years and years and years of their childhood, not just trying to do perfectly on day one. The second tip is take a training mentality to Sabbath with your children. Deuteronomy 6 tells parents, Jewish parents, to teach their children to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Verse 7 says, impress this upon your children. Impress this upon your children. The Hebrew word there, impress, is about teaching. It's about training. Even more than teaching, training. The word really actually means to pierce, to put in, to impress, to instill it on the inside of their heart. So often as Christian parents, we inoculate our children to God and Christianity by not training them in the things of God well. But as Christian parents, we don't want to inoculate, we want to inculcate. So that's the opposite of inoculate. We want to put things on the inside of our children, and Sabbath is the day to do that. Everyone wants to teach their children to hear the voice of God. Often there's not space for that. Sabbath provides hours and hours of slowed down spirituality to teach your children how to follow Jesus. The opportunity to disciple your children, grow them in their faith by having space once a week on a Sabbath is just absolutely priceless. And it's our responsibility as parents to take up the task of discipling our children. You can't just give them to church on Sunday. You can't just pop them into Christian school and think they're going to be okay. It's up to you to impress upon their little hearts and their little minds who Jesus is. And Sabbath creates it really gives us a gift to be able to do these things over a lifetime. You imagine after 15, 20 years of this, how your children are going to know every Saturday or every Sunday, we followed Jesus, we prayed to Jesus, we cultivated a relationship with him. The third key, I believe, or tip to doing Sabbath with children is you've got to have a digital detox. You've got to turn off screens and transition your children, or teach them, maybe transition yourself from reliance on a screen to entertain or distract, and transition them to reliance on themselves, to imagine games, to create space to do things as a family, play cards, play board games, go outside, play sports, do dancing, do whatever, do talent shows. We do all kinds of things. When you take the screens out as an option for a day, it's amazing the creativity, the games, and just the natural play that comes out of our children and out of us as a family. It's a beautiful thing. The fourth tip is make sure when you do a Sabbath, mark it with a clear beginning and a clear ending so that it's predictable. Children flourish with predictability. They don't do well when things are ambiguous or unexplained from parents. So explain very clearly, we're going to do a Sabbath, it's going to start here. So for us, it's breakfast Saturday morning. It's a clear beginning, and then it's usually dinner and maybe reading a psalm or doing some prayer or even reflecting on the day. What do we learn from Sabbath today? And we do that at dinner time most of the time. So there's a clear ending. And it's going to make it easier for you because it's predictable. It's more kind of programmed, not in the legalistic sense, but it's just a clear program. Everyone knows what's going on. And especially for your children, children do better when things are predictable and not ambiguous and unexplained. So you're answering the why of Sabbath for your children. Number 5, preparation. So the Jews actually have a preparation day on Friday. Preparation day is mentioned in the Bible because to do an effective Sabbath, you actually need to prepare. If you've got work that needs to be done over the weekend, well, you got to do that in your preparation time, so you're not doing it in your Sabbath time. If you want to have a great meal and eat together, we've got to do grocery shopping the day before, so you're not running off to the shops and again back to rushing around getting groceries on the Sabbath day. So preparation is absolutely essential, especially in the spiritual, the worship part of Sabbath with your children. Have something predetermined or pre-prepared. Maybe there's a devotional book you're working through. We're working through the Pilgrim's Progress at the moment. Maybe there's a book of the Bible that you're reading as a family. If you get to Sabbath day and you're not sure what to do in the spiritual element, then you're probably not going to do anything. You want to get to Sabbath and it's already predetermined. Okay, what's the next chapter we're reading? Okay, what's the next thing we're going on to? Okay, let's open up the devotional book. What is it? Maybe you do worship every Sabbath. So it's like, okay, we're going to start off our spiritual part of our Sabbath. Let's put on a worship song together because that's what we do every Sabbath. So it's predictable, it's routine, it's habits. That's what the spiritual practices are about. They're about forming great habits in our lives, and for our children, helping them form great spiritual habits so that they become deeply connected to God as a young person that will hopefully carry on for the rest of their life.